Hello, my name is Justin Coffey, and this is my examination of the Parental Apathy case study for school and community relations at Fort Hays State University. Just a real quick briefing about the case study. This is a case study about a assistant principal who is in her first year as assistant principal and has noticed a lack of parent involvement in the school and has addressed that issue with the principal. And at first, the principal kind of brushed off the lack of parent involvement, and then later on he said yes, he would agree to creating a parent advisory group. And so they have held their first meeting to talk about this parent advisory group, and only 8 parents have shown up for the meeting. So that's kind of where this case study leaves off, and this is my take on what I would do as that assistant principal. I will take the role of the assistant principal in this case study. Some of the things that we know about the situation is, number one, that Mrs. Rose is in her first year as assistant principal at John F. Kennedy School. Mrs. Rose feels that there's a lack of family engagement in the school, and she has addressed her concern with the principal. The principal has agreed to hold a special parent meeting and consider forming a parents advisory group. And on the evening of the meeting, only 8 parents showed up. Some of the things that I think we need to know is, are there any economic, cultural, or other legitimate reasons why parents are unable to attend the meetings at the school? Is there a reason why the principal is against forming a PTO or PTA organization at the school? He has stated that he's okay with creating this parent advisory group, but he does not want to create a PTO or PTA organization. And then finally, does the school have any data, maybe from parent-teacher conferences or any parental surveys that have been sent out, but do they have any data that could help them inform about family engagement and maybe some of the reasons for the lack of engagement? As I identify the problem, I believe that it's the responsibility of building leaders to conduct a needs assessment of families, develop collaboration strategies with families, and involve families in the decision-making process. I believe that the administration team at John F. Kennedy School must create a plan to improve family engagement with the school community. And I think that by improving family engagement, that they will impact student success in their school. So my plan of action has a few steps here. Number one, as the case study leaves off, it's kind of what should we do now that only 8 parents have shown up for the meeting. My first step would be to move ahead with the scheduled parent meeting and begin a dialogue about a plan to create the parent advisory group. Now, only 8 parents have shown up, so I think it's really important during this first meeting to listen to some of their concerns. Perhaps they have answers as to why there's only 8 people there, and this is a good chance to learn by listening to the group of parents that are there. My second step is to create a family engagement task force made up of administrators, teachers, staff, parents, and students who will be tasked with creating a parents advisory group and increasing family engagement. So this task force will be doing some research and collecting information and data about how we can increase our engagement and get parents involved in the parent advisory group. My last step would be to utilize technology to record and broadcast parent meetings for parents who are unable to physically attend the meetings. Some of the strategies that I would use to implement this plan is to ask parents about potential times, dates, and locations for increased parent involvement. Invite a group of representative teachers, staff, parents, and students to join the team. I want to make sure that we have a diverse voice, and so I want to make sure that this task force is representative of all the different teachers and all the different families that are in our school. And then my next strategy would be to schedule and communicate dates, times, and locations for monthly meetings with the Family Engagement Task Force. And after that, my strategy would be to conduct a needs assessment of the families. So really looking into what do our families need from us? How can we best serve our families? What changes can we make to meet the needs of both our families and students? And then I would develop a communication plan based on the input and needs of the families that will allow for two-way communication and collaboration. So from the needs assessment, I would determine what's the best way to communicate with parents and what's the best kind of avenue to create two-way communication. Is that through technology? Is it through notes home? Is it through phone calls? Is it through some sort of combination of all of those choices? And then finally, my last strategy would be to plan a family launch event for the parent advisory group. And this would be a chance to create some excitement and some buzz about the parent advisory group and have a celebration kicking off that event. So when we look at my resolution, the reasons why I think this is going to impact student success is we would be moving to collaboration with stakeholders from kind of a single contact with the community. In the status quo right now, the principal is kind of the only one that it has any contact with the community. And through my plan, we would be increasing collaboration and many people would be involved in creating relationships with stakeholders. My second point is kind of this whole theory of it takes a village versus right now there is no parent organization or engagement. We know that in order to raise and educate our children, it's going to take more than just the parents, or it's going to take more than just the teachers. It's going to take more than just the community. It's going to take all of us working together. And my plan creates that type of environment. And then finally, another reason why I think it will improve or increase student success is my plan would move from a centralized leadership that just is located with the principal, and it would move to a culture of shared leadership. So teachers and family members will be taking on leadership roles within the task force and within the parent advisory group. A little bit of reflection about my thoughts as I read the case study. One of the first questions that I had is, I wonder what are some of the reasons for the lack of family engagement? Are there some real reasons as to why parents aren't able to attend events or be involved? And I also wonder why the principal is against forming a PTO or PTA organization, as maybe he had bad experiences with those in the past. And finally, I wonder what caused the principal's change of heart. At first, he wasn't open to this parent advisory group, and then he kind of changed his mind and said he'd be open to it. So I wonder what caused that change of heart. Some of my feelings as I was reading the case study was, as a parent myself, I felt like there has to be more of a reason than just parent apathy. I know how much I want success for my child and how much I want to be involved in their life and their education. And I know other parents feel the same way. So there has to be some other reasons besides just parent apathy as to why parents aren't involved. And I also felt empathetic toward the principal because I know what it feels like to try and address an issue and have little to no results. He's kind of talked about how he tried to increase family engagement and it just doesn't work in this community. And it seems like he kind of lost hope with that. And I know that feeling. So I felt empathetic towards him. And then finally, I also felt really excited about the opportunity to try something new to improve family engagement in the school. Some of the issues that have been left unresolved that there aren't quite an answer for is, will families trust the school enough to provide meaningful and useful information during the needs assessment? We really need families to be trusting of us so that we can get some good information and data. And will the principal consider the formation of a PTO or PTA organization in the future? I know that's not what he's looking for right now, but as we increase family engagement, is that something he would consider in the future? And then finally, can we extend our efforts toward improving family relations to improving relations with the community at large? This case study is kind of focused on family engagement and how can we increase that. But it doesn't sound like the school has too much community engagement either. So I think that it's smart to focus first on family engagement, but then I wonder if we can push some of our efforts forward to also include the community in our engagement. All right, so as I look at my plan to address the issues in this case study, I was looking for evidence that my plan had collaboration with families and community. So a couple pieces of evidence that I think my plan shows is that we are going to go ahead and move forward with that scheduled parent meeting. If we're going to create trust with our families, then when we schedule a meeting, we have to hold the meeting. So parents have counted on us to hold this meeting. They've dedicated their time to show up to the meeting. So I think that's appropriate that we go ahead and hold the meeting, even though there might only be 8 parents there. And it's a great chance for us to learn and listen as to why maybe there are only 8 parents there. Another piece of evidence is that my plan would conduct a needs assessment with family stakeholders. So I think it's really important that we collect some information and some data about what are the needs of families, what are the needs of our students, and how can we better meet those needs. And finally, another piece of evidence would be the creation of this family engagement task force that would be charged with increasing family involvement and participating in the school community, and increasing participation in the school community. The other thing that I was looking at is what parts of my plan show that I am responding to diverse community needs and interests. So one of the first pieces of evidence, I think, is that I would invite a representative group of teachers, staff, and students to advocate for and improve family engagement. I want a diverse group of parents and a diverse group of teachers that are representative of all the different groups in my school. And then also, another piece of evidence is determining the meeting times, the meeting dates, and location that would fit the needs of the stakeholders. This is really looking at what are the needs of my families and how can I respond to those needs. And then finally, scheduling and communicating dates, times, and location with the parent advisory meeting, getting that information on the calendar and communicating it with families early so that they can plan around those, I think is addressing the needs of my community. And lastly, what is the evidence that my plan mobilizes community resources? One of the things that we're going to do is utilize technology to record and broadcast parent advisory meetings. So that's using our resources to help improve family engagement. We would also develop a communication plan that would facilitate two-way communication between school and families. And I think that plan is using our resources to improve family engagement. And finally, the launch event that we're going to use to kick off our parent advisory group would be using our resources to create some buzz and excitement around this new family engagement plan. So that is my kind of examination of this case study. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to your feedback. Thank you.